Sometimes, while the majority of the general public is busy talking about the next big thing in film, I think that it's prudent to travel back to the good old days and watch an older film, especially if it's one that I've never seen before. While there continues to be an exorbitant amount of films that I have yet to see, sometimes I get lucky, and one such film is also curiously trending on certain social platforms in regards to film. Recently, Idiocracy, a film released nearly 20 years ago in 2006, was trending. Perhaps the timing had something to do with the current state of the country, or maybe even the recent presidential debate, reflecting this idea that the world as a whole really is getting dumber and dumber, which was seemingly predicted in this little comedy starring Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph, who in modern day are simply put a couple of the most average people that have ever lived. They are soon recruited by the army for a test experiment. They're to be placed in suspended animation for a year, just enough time to prove that humans can do it indefinitely if they so wished. Something goes awry, and our two average Joes step out of their hibernation pods 500 years into the future, where humanity seems to have devolved somehow, making these average people the smartest people on the planet. Surrounded by drooling nimwits in a world overrun by advertisements and a whole lot of electrolytes. One thing is abundantly clear upon first watch: there is certainly inspiration borrowed from Planet of the Apes, where instead of brilliant and eloquently speaking apes, the world is filled to the brim with humans that just kind of act like apes, just with a limited vocabulary. As the narrator quips, the English language has deteriorated into a hybrid of hillbilly, valley girl, inner city slang, and various grunts. Humorously enough, the film came out just before smartphones and social media blew up and became everybody's world, which is still true today. Had this movie come out just a year or two later, I feel as though the film would be significantly different, and instead of the advertisements running amok everywhere, it would be a much closer vision seen with the lazy folks in Wall-E that are all morbidly obese and have their faces constantly fixated on their screens. Something also explored in a recent episode of Doctor Who entitled Dot and Bubble, where despite there being terrifying bug-like monsters killing everybody around, nobody seems to realize that it's happening because they're so fixated on their screens. Humanity's dependency on screens and social media as a whole certainly holds a little bit more weight in making a story seem more plausible and relatable as a cautionary tale than a broad statement that people in the future are going to be dumber because hillbillies have hundreds of children in a time span that a rich couple intelligently stops and thinks about the proper time to have kids. It's actually a lot more simple than that, guys. In case you haven't noticed the trend with millennials and Gen Z, the ever-expanding list of acts that people start to deem offensive, cancel culture, and misinformation being spread on platforms such as YouTube and TikTok. People really are slowly getting more and more stupid. It's simply embarrassing, the tens of thousands of accounts on social media that proudly admit their belief that the world is indeed flat. Oh yes, there is most definitely a decline in intelligence, and that idea alone, as broad as it is, was explored in Idiocracy, which in part helps maintain this film as brilliant, hilarious, and in a way, timeless. Even if they missed a few vital aspects I'd imagine were really important for a futuristic vision, and what we got was a bit extreme in terms of how animalistic people kind of were, these things are forgivable in a comedy, as most films in this genre are known to exaggerate their message. Unfortunately, part of the visuals in this film are certainly aged, as the bigger picture or wider shots showcasing the world as a whole are almost cartoony in nature and don't really blend in so much with the practical set designs and stuff clearly shot in person. There's a lot of CGI backgrounds with subpar CGI, especially for the year 2006. And in 2024, it's just an eyesore, as well as obvious green screen work and superimposing our leads on a digitally altered background. Doing this here and there isn't terrible by any means, but there's enough of it going on in Idiocracy for even the dumbest of characters in this film to spot, which is saying something. As far as comedies go, one might understandably ask, is the film even funny? As I say with any review for a comedy, humor is among the most subjective things on the planet. Everybody has a different sense of humor. Idiocracy has a strange mix of slapstick and highbrow inside jokes, which is not usually what you see. It's usually one way or the other. So I feel as though the humor will be a mixed bag for anybody watching, but there may be a select few out there that will think that it's one of the best comedies of the last 20 years. I certainly won't fault you if you believe that it is, but a few things are holding me back on that. Overall, the grade I will be giving Idiocracy is a C+. For me, I felt as though the exaggerated vision of the future was funny enough, but didn't make a lot of sense for the current direction of the world, especially in the massive expansion of technology and social media. It's not the film's fault, as those things had yet to really develop, but seeing a world devoid of social media, I don't know, personally, I think the population would get smarter. But again, that is just me. What about you guys though? What do you think about Idiocracy? Are you a fan of the film? Do you think, as funny as it is, that it paints an accurate depiction of a futuristic world? Why or why not? Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, and as for YouTube, you guys know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out.